Happy Friday. I am April Chadwick,
And I'm Diane Gertis.
and we are with the Mortgage Advantage TMA Corner. Happy Friday, Mom. How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm doing great. It's a beautiful, beautiful day in sunny Arizona.
It is. It's absolutely gorgeous.
No more rain.
Yeah.
So good for us. So we hope everyone out there has been doing well. And I think, what's the first thing that you wanted to talk about today?
Um, well, I will, just because it's on my mind, we'll just briefly talk about it. I want to talk about home equity line of credits, but there has been an article circulating on the social media regarding mortgage rates, good borrowers being punished to help other borrowers. And I'm not, part of it was alluding to loan level product adjustments that they said it's being effective May 1st, but the memo came out from Fannie Mae in January, and it's been effective since February. So, yes, there are loan level product adjustments. Nobody likes it, but it's not to benefit one borrower or another. Also, some
Take
of the
away from one borrower.
That's correct. There have been a couple to address the changes. Well, first off, in the article, it said that there were changes in FHA, and that is absolutely. I'm unaware of any detrimental changes to FHA. They've all been the biggest news is that they dropped the monthly mortgage insurance, which I went over. So I'm not sure what they're alluding to unless they've got insider information, which I went and contacted my contacts and they know nothing of that. The other is some of the other information that was in this article was misleading. No doubt nobody was happy with the loan product adjustments, but some of the banks, for instance, our main bank has absorbed some of those costs so the borrowers don't feel it. We work with another bank, especially on purchases. They've absorbed some of those costs so the buyer's not feeling it. As far as the reasoning for that, I do know that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac have decided to make it their mission to help first-time home buyers into homes, and their first-time home buyer programs for those in Maricopa, Pinal, Pima counties, because we're in Arizona, who make under 82,500 may have the opportunity to utilize these programs that will have reduced interest rates and reduced mortgage insurance. Again, going back to the article. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
But also, that is not at a detriment to another borrower. Meaning, if I have a 780 or 800 credit score, I'm putting 20% down. I've worked my whole life for my credit score, which is 780 or 790, and I got the down payment. There's no detriment to me as a borrower whatsoever for this product, correct?
That it depending on the bank you go to, I want to be careful with that. There shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So, right. But Fannie and Freddie did put this loan level product assessment into effect, but I don't think that anyone, if they are feeling it, I haven't heard of it. And some of the banks are taking some of that sting away by absorbing it themselves. Just saying. And then I don't want to get into it because there was so much misinformation in that particular article. Now let's get to HELOCs.
Let's get to
HELOCs. Let me go back to, if they read something like that, call me, and like a couple of my agents have already have, and I'll be glad to go into a great deal of detail on it. I do not want to make your eyes crossed. But just keep in mind, this has been in effect since after the first year.
Correct. And how to shout out? That is one thing I want to say. Hey, guess what? People are utilizing us as a source of information. So thank you. We were actually, how we found out about this misinformation was because people called us.
That's correct.
We appreciate the people that take the time to call, that want to get the story straight. So thank you for utilizing us, and especially Diane.
No doubt there's some truth to it, but there's a lot of misinformation again in it. So let's get to home equity line of credits. Yay!
Ooh.
Everyone still has equity in their homes. So the big housing crash hasn't happened yet. But before it happens, you may want to get that home equity line of credit. How does a home equity line of credit work? Well, it works on three factors. One, the equity in your home. Two, your credit score. And three, works on what the prime rate is. A home equity line of credit is utilized much like a credit card. And so therefore you can tap into your equity. For instance, if you're going to do some remodeling and you have equity in your home, which you can take up as much as, depending on your equity, up to 500,000 on most lenders. And it's a great tool to use because the interest rates are lower than credit cards. Now, what are the interest rates, you may ask? Well, it's typically home equity line of credits are based on the Fed rate. And today's Fed rate, which we are April 20th, 21st, 2023, the Fed rate today is 8%. So if your credit score is high, you've got a 780 credit score, typically it could be the Fed rate plus a margin, and that margin is lower. The margin is lower the higher your credit score.
Right.
So it could be as low as 1. So your interest rate could be 9, or it could be even lower than that, depending on the bank or credit union you go to. But if your credit score is lower, then that margin is higher. Doesn't mean you can't get the loan. It just means that the interest rate is going to be higher. And right now, the credit cards are like 20, 21%.
Right.
So these, as long as you manage it, it's a great way to even pay off some of that high credit card debt. You can use it for whatever you want. It is your money. It is your equity.
Correct. And like Diane is saying, for a lot of people that may not understand this, like for home equity lines of credit, so say, let's do an easy example. You get $100,000 home equity line of credit, right? It can sit there. It's not saying you have to use that $100,000 right away. Like Diane said, it can be like we hate to use the term credit card just because we're using that analogy to pay them off. But if you get a home equity line of credit, they give you $100,000. That doesn't mean you have to spend that $100,000 right away. You can spend as needed or not spend as needed, but it's there for you as a safety if you want a nest egg or whatever to spend things on. That is how a home equity line of credit works.
That is thank you, April. It's a great point. Also, your payment is only based on what you use, not on the entire line. Right. And if I could make a suggestion for if whoever is thinking about doing remodeling, and you think like most of us, oh, to redo the kitchen, that's probably going to cost about $30,000. Oh, you're so cute.
That is just go over budget ever.
Who would go over budget? Who's going to get delayed? Ooh, I don't like those cabinets. I want these cabinets. You can take as much, do the home equity line of credit line as high as you're comfortable with. Let me restate that. Right. But don't do it for what you think your remodel is going to be, because whatever you think it's going to be, you better just double it, if not more. Yeah. Or you may decide to do a lot of times you do the kitchen, you're like, you know what looks ugly now is our bathrooms or the living room, or we need to change out the flooring. So but again, you do not have, you can use the home equity line of credit to go to Europe if you want. But it is another way to utilize the assets that you have without going into your 401k or going into your savings account. But let's talk about the downside of it. I've given you like, whoa, it's great. I don't know if the downside is the rate is adjustable. It's going to be based on prime. So for instance, today's prime is 8. It's probably going to go up another quarter to 8.250 before it starts coming down. And then your rate, but you got to also, and it's interest only. Home equity line of credits are typically interest only. So the payment is going to be less than what you would pay with principal and interest. But when the Fed starts lowering the rate, that Fed rate, then your payment is going to come down. So if it goes down, then there's typically a few caps. So we'll put a cap of how high it can get and how low it can get, but it can drop considerably before you have to. I mean, it's a great way. I mean, just
absolutely. And there's nothing that's too bad about if your payment going down. That's
no, that's not.
Well, it's never like,
yeah. So, but home equity, yeah, and you can use a home equity line of credit to buy another house if you want. If you've got enough equity, you can buy. It is your money to do as you please. And most of the time, you don't need an appraisal, and the underwriting process is a little bit easier than a typical loan.
Exactly what I was going to say. And what would you say that the underwriting is like compared to a house? It's a lot easier.
Yeah.
So it's not as in depth. Awesome. So HELOCs are our word for today. Definitely.
HELOC, home equity line of credit.
You got it. So thank you. And anything else that you can think of on this fine? Is this the last? Oh, one more Friday in April.
No.
Nope. Oh, is
beautiful.
This oh, yeah, it is. My month.
Yeah, yay, it's your month, April.
But no, thank you. Thank you guys. And thank you all for tuning in. And thank you all for those who contact us. Once again, we live in the land of misinformation just because there is so much information out there.
And our mortgage industry isn't easy. I mean, they don't make it easy on us too. I mean, even you look at some of the guidelines, you're going, so I have to jump off the house and run around the building 3 times and go down the street before I can get a loan. That's how you feel sometimes. Pretty
much, but don't forget your blood sample as well.
That's right.
So, and it is, and that's what Diane's here for. There's stuff that I mean, this is how the process works, just so everyone knows. I receive information. People will call me, do whatever. And you know what I do? Do you know how I vet everything? I call Diane. I send it right to her.
Well, I told you I have a PhD in everything. Just nobody believes me.
Well, and like as she said, she speaks loanese, and that is exactly what it is. If you know how loans work, she speaks it. And if you ever need her, please, that is literally what we're here for.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you guys to everyone. And I'm April Chadwick, and
I'm Diane Gertis, and I can be reached at 480-235-5667. Everyone, thank you so much.
Yay. I hope everybody has a wonderful weekend, and contact us if you have any questions.